What is happening, my gurus? Welcome to another one of these videos. I must apologize for my absence over the last few days. As you guys know, we've been busy with launching our NFT platform, The Tree, here locally in South Africa. For those of you that have not had the chance to check it out, I definitely recommend doing so. I will pop a link into the description below. For those of you that do know, it's super exciting times. We did a full-scale public launch yesterday, and there is a lot to look forward to in that space. So I will keep you guys posted as it goes along. Just to touch on what we discussed in the last video, which was the AMA with the equal team. Please, guys, for those that are interested, just let me know. I'm suggesting maybe we see if Tuesday next week would work for everybody. So please let me know if Tuesday next week works for you guys. You guys can obviously pop me a message in the Telegram and just let me know that works for everybody. Okay, so back to the charts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Unfortunately, obviously, guys, as we all know and as we all saw yesterday, was the advent of the Russian invasion into Ukraine. A very unfortunate circumstance, very sad time for the human race. I read something really interesting yesterday. Author by the name of Yuval Noah Harari. He's written a few very, very interesting books on the history of the human race and our evolution as well. Super interesting stuff. Highly recommended. And he said something super interesting yesterday. He made a long tweet saying that the fact that we haven't seen war in so many years is not due to the fact that we're enlightened or growing spiritually or becoming one or any of that stuff. It's just because of smart decision making and non-human error. And unfortunately, what we're seeing at the moment is simply humans being humans and human error and greed as well. So with that, obviously, given that the circumstances, that we can obviously see what the impact that it's having on the chart. But I do want to delve into something, and I do want to delve into something really interesting. And what that is it's actually a tweet by a guy by the name of Naval Ravikant, who said the following. He said, and this is great. I mean, coming from him, it's super interesting. He said, crypto is the smartest people in the world exiting into their own economy. And my friends, let me tell you that on the advent of World War, we are seeing just what the power of that Bitcoin Bitcoin adoption could do and what it could mean. So hopping into the charts, let me quickly just open up into full screen. Let's have a look at the sort of macro. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go first of all to the monthly chart and open up the monthly candles and show you guys what we're looking at, because it's a good sign. It's a good signal. And yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, it's really heavy times that we're dealing with, but we must try and find the silver lining, at least those of us that are trading and those of us that are looking for entries and positions in the market during all this turmoil and during this volatility. Obviously, the volatility and turmoil is nothing we can control, but what we can control is our own risk management to find out where we're investing and where we're exiting at this time. So looking now at the monthly candles, we can obviously see that it had been a barrage of 3 straight red months, really crucial movement. I mean, we saw some really heavy activity, heavy bearish activity coming all the way down from the highs at 69,000. From the previous all-time high, which was around about Pumptober, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, just towards the end of October, beginning of November. And of course, it was a steady decline from there until we started reversing from the middle of this sort of middle market region, which is about the 34 to 36K range. It was the range that I also discussed. Obviously, once we started seeing another collapse, it was the range that we knew we would fall to should we have lost 38K. Obviously, with the looming war and the impending Fed situation, it was never going to last and it was never going to hold up too well. But I'm really happy to see that the monthly candle is starting to print a green one. If we get a monthly candle closing that is green, regardless of whether it's a flying dragon doji, regardless of whether it's a tombstone doji, whatever sort of candle it prints, bearish or bullish, so long as it's green, it will be a massive indicator as to the fact that we could be potentially seeing the bottom of this low move. Again, there's a lot of macroeconomic factors that we can't control, so we must obviously be aware of that. But I think that all in all, we could be looking at, sort of a reversal of momentum. Now, back into the macro, I want to quickly talk about a few fundamentals that we're dealing with. Something that I mentioned in the charts a few weeks ago was something that I actually got from, for me, he's one of the GOATs as far as trading goes, as far as technical analysis goes, as far as socio-geopolitical macro analysis goes, because this guy spots things from a mile away. And I'm talking about the crypto wizard. And basically, I mean, this guy was calling the whole Swift thing ages ago, and it made so much sense. Again, guys, if the EU and the US are going to sanction Russia, which they have already started doing, if they are going to go ahead and sanction the biggest financial institutions in and out of Russia, they are going to tap into the problem of money flow with Russia. And I think oil and gas aside, if they sort of go for the jugular and they cut off the Russian economic system through blocking SWIFT, we will see a massive explosion in crypto, first in Bitcoin and then in altcoins, simply due to the fact that people will be forced to interact with the blockchain and buy Bitcoin in order to send it to their relatives in these war-stricken areas. So it's silver lining. It's obviously not a nice positive angle, but at least it's something, and it's something to work with from a portfolio perspective. My heart does go out to every single person that's in Ukraine right now, and that is facing suffering as a result of this war and as a result of this backwards sort of behavior from from the Russians and from the Russian government. I don't agree with any of it. I don't condone any of it, and unfortunately, if this is what it takes to get Bitcoin adopted in the world, to show what Bitcoin can do for the economy and to show that Bitcoin can be an alternative economic model for the planet, this is what it's going to take. It's not, the banks aren't going to take it lying down. The system's not going to take it lying down. If we want true and long-lasting change, it's going to come off the back of one of these types of events. So we must be fully aware of that. Back to the charts. Obviously, we're seeing now, we're getting a move here. I just want to quickly change up the colors of what I'm doing here. There we go. All right, perfect. So you guys can obviously see we've now sort of seen that we've got some support around these levels here, which is fantastic. The level at 34K seems pretty strong. It seems like it's holding. Again, if we do lose these levels, we are going to be in trouble. So that is the fact. We just have to be aware of that, and we have to be cognizant of that fact. It's now obviously looking like it's putting in sort of a, well, let me just quickly draw that out a little bit better. It does look like there is a potential head and shoulders coming there. I'm not going to preempt that. I'm not going to call it too early, simply because when we look at the RSI, for example, let me actually just open this up again. Sorry about that. There we go. There we open this up again. Let's just take a quick look at some of the. I'll open it up like this. Should be easier to see. So looking at market cipher, I mean, we're obviously getting bullish and bearish indicators all over the place. I think market cipher is struggling to keep up with the volatility, to be quite honest with you guys. So I'm not too sure that any of these indicators are indicators that are worth looking at right now. But one of the indicators that are definitely worth looking at is the stochastic indicator, which is known as RSI. And it's very important to be looking at it at these levels here, simply because, unfortunately, as much as I would have liked to have, seen it come down and confirm the same level as we saw in the May, and then obviously the the May, and then rather the August reversal, it hasn't come down to complete that level fully. So we will probably see, it might need to come down one more time. Again, that would also fit into the thesis of the head and shoulders as well. But I'll keep my eye on that, and I will, sort of be looking to see how it interacts here. We've got a nice little cross here from the two sort of moving averages as well. So let's see what happens. I will keep my eye on that, and we will keep a keen eye on the macro to see what's happening. In terms of the intraday chart, obviously, before I actually hop into the Bitcoin intraday chart, I want to just quickly have a look at Bitcoin dominance and just see where we're sitting with that. Obviously, really, really interesting times. And guys, you have to understand, anybody that can tell you with absolute certainty where they think the market's going is absolutely bullshitting you, because the greatest traders in the world today are not catching this volatility both up and down. And you can simply see it by looking at crypto Twitter and looking at the sentiment once we got that pump yesterday. No one saw it coming, no one anticipated it, and no one was ready to trade it either, barring a very, very select few. So we must keep an eye on that, and we must be cognizant of the fact that it's really hard to control and time this market as well. Bitcoin dominance seems to be cruising up quite a bit. Again, this is purely because there is a lot of money inflow into Bitcoin right now, both on the back of the news of the economic sanctions, both for the fact that people are buying Bitcoin to send to the Ukraine as their banking system is having issues as well. And I think just in general, with such turmoil, people are looking for certain hedges against the economy, against the inflation rate hike sort of fundamentals as well. So we are seeing a heavy push up in the dominance here, but it is going to hit resistance at these points as well, and I do see us coming back down. Now again, once dominance does come back down, we should see quite a fair pump in the altcoins as well. Some of the altcoins that I will be having my eye on will be your Lunas. Matic has held its own really, really well. I'm super, super impressed with the way that Matic's held up. XRP is another token that I'll have my eyes on if we do see Bitcoin dominance drop, and then sort of an explosion in the alts. At least when I say explosion, I'm using that word very liberally with Link still at $13. But you guys know what I mean. It would be nice to see some pumps, and potentially we can set up a few trades to catch those moves as well in the market. So just quickly pulling back to the Bitcoin intraday chart, let's just have a look here. I'm just going to open it up with a different lens. Okie dokes. Let's just check this out over here. I'm going to quickly open this up nice and big. Cool. So basically one of the projections that I put out into the chart a few days ago, this projection was put out before the war, and this projection was laid out on the chart, I think, when we were around the 34 at the true bottom. So it will be really, really interesting for me to see it play out here. Not only because it would, I mean, as you guys can see, I've already spotted an inverse head and shoulders here. I haven't seen anybody else talking about it. I haven't seen anybody else sort of mention it on crypto Twitter or in any of the analysis videos that I do follow myself. So it'd be really interesting to see that if we have picked up something before anyone else does, we can trade it with fair certainty. But unfortunately, in order to just sort of trade it fully confidently, I would actually prefer to just sort of trade from the bounce off of here and the rejection of that trend line. So we will keep a keen eye on it. But yeah, let's just see how things unfold. I think more importantly today is how the geopolitical situation will unfold and what those economic sanctions will be. Guys, as always, if you are enjoying these videos, please do the like, comment, subscribe, share, thingy-mabob. I'd love to get these videos out there and for more people to see and share them as well. And of course, if you guys have any questions, I will be in the channel as always. Have a blessed weekend, my gurus, and I will catch with you guys on the other side.